Hi, my name's Dana and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm sharing with you my October TBR, and honestly, as I look at it, there's just a lot of vampires. So I have a very ambitious October TBR. I set high goals for myself every month. Do I achieve them? No, but I aim high, and that's good. Probably not, but I have a lot of books that I've been buying with the plan to read them in October, and there are like many stacks on my floor, and I'm looking at them and they are looking at me, and they're not even on the TBR pile. So that's how many books I bought. And I don't know if that Paranormal Romance book haul is probably not up yet, but have that to look forward to. Let's get started talking about some of the non-paranormal books I want to read this month. And let's start with Fall for Joanna Shupe. I feel like I talk about it all the time, about my read-along that I'm co-hosting, so I'm sorry, but like it's a thing and I'm doing it. So I am co-hosting the read-along for the Knickerbocker Club by Joanna Shupe. So it's a Gilded Age historical romance series, and they're all kind of following like a man of wealth who has kind of made it big. And so the first book that we're reading is Tycoon, and that's the prequel novella. And then we're reading Magnate, Baron, and Mogul. So if you want to join, we're still on week 1 when this is going live, so can easily plow through Tycoon and then join us for the other 3. And if you buy them in physical print, the Tycoon novella is in Mogul. So I haven't read a lot about like what these actual books are. I want to like be in the moment and enjoy them, but I'm very excited. I've read a few of Joanna Shupe's other Gilded Age books and they've all been fantastic. She's a really great author. And then on the topic of Joanna Shupe, I tried to prep and get some Joanna Shupe in my life before the read-along, but I kind of fell behind on that. So I'm currently in the middle of the second book in her Uptown Girls series. Do I have it right here? Yes. So The Prince of Broadway. I'm listening to the audiobook right now. I'm filming this on September 28th, so I'm a few days ahead. So the third book, The Devil of Downtown, is on my radar. I would like to listen to this audiobook. So this follows the third sister in that series, Justine, and I'm very excited. Her hero is like a guy who has appeared in the other books, Jack Mulligan, and he is kind of like another ruthless, cunning, like casino owner, but he's more on like the bad side than the previous hero, Clayton. So I'm very excited for this one. And then the last book that's not of a darker, spooky nature that I would like to read is The Misadventures of a Curvy Girl by Sierra Simone. I received this in my Love Sweet Arrow mystery box, and I recently read Naughty Brits, which was an anthology, and one of the stories featured Sierra Simone, and I loved her story Supplicant. So I'm really excited for this, and this is a menage romance, and it follows Ireland Mills, who is a curvy girl, and she is driving and her car breaks down, and she ends up being picked up by 2 guys, and I think things happen, obviously. Yeah, that's what I get from the gist of this. I could be entirely inaccurate, but that's what I think happens, and I'm very excited to read it. So then, kind of moving on, I do have some other books that I'm currently reading for like the Kindle Clear Out readathon that's happening this week, so that I'm not including in this TBR video, as well as a few books for like some secret TBRs, but they're really not that secret. So a book that is on the Kindle Clear Out TBR for me is When No One Is Watching. I have an e-arc of it, but I feel like I just need to get through some thrillers this month. I have a few, like it's not my genre, but I love Alyssa Cole so much, and I know this is a gentrification thriller, so I'm very excited for that. It gets a lot of claims to being like Get Out, so I'm also excited because this is set in Brooklyn, and I know Brooklyn very well, so I'm very excited. Yeah, I've heard that it's a bit slow, but it really picks up at the end, so I'm very excited to get to this one. And then a book that's on my TBR that I picked up from a little free library is Till Death by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I actually just read 2 Jennifer L. Armentrout books in September, her fantasy novels From Blood and Ash and A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. And while I rated both of them 3 stars, I am kind of in the mood for her writing style, which is kind of easy to get through, very addicting and compelling. So I really want to see what she does with romantic suspense. I know this follows a woman who escaped a serial killer, and she's kind of been in witness protection, and an FBI agent and her end up in a romance, and I think the serial killer has either a copycat or he's on the loose somehow again. I'm excited to get to this. I have like something like bigger planned in the terms of like a little free library and like unhauling and stuff, so I'm hoping to be able to like work on that plan of like videos that I really want to do for this and with this in mind, but I'm just excited to read more romantic suspense. Now it's time for the paranormal romance time. I've got like a lot of books on my radar that I would like to read. But let's start with the books that like I'm classifying as paranormal romance, but they're not at all paranormal romances. So we'll pick those up first, and we'll end on the high note of true paranormal romance. So the first book, I don't think I'm actually gonna read it, but I just want to like hold it up. So I'm actually next week going on a small little like getaway trip with my friend, and we're going upstate New York to Sleepy Hollow, or rather we're staying in the town near Sleepy Hollow and then going to see Sleepy Hollow, like the cemetery. So I have this from an old owl crate, and I am planning to skim it maybe on the train and then take a picture with this. We've rented like a Airbnb for the weekend, and we're literally just gonna like order food a lot and then maybe walk around the small town and like go to a farmer's market. It's kind of, we are just like excited to do something for ourselves and then stay home after for like 2 weeks. But yeah, I just feel like I needed something to be excited about, so exciting. I'm thinking about maybe planning like doing like a little Sleepy Hollow like vlog. I don't know how much reading I'm gonna do, or if like the books I bring will be part of like other vlogs, but I'm just excited, and there'll definitely be some spooky adventures maybe, so farmer's market and the like jack-o'-lantern blaze thing that happens up there. But yeah, that's fun on the agenda. And then other books, this is not paranormal, but it's a fantasy romance, and it's A Heart of Blood and Ashes. I know Fated Mates just recently read this, and Jen and Sarah are obsessed with it, and I am potentially buddy reading this with a friend. So this is a fantasy romance following 2 like people from rival like clans or kingdoms, and that's all I know is that like the heroine convinces the hero that she wants to like take down her own family basically, and I feel like Jen and Sarah talk a lot about blood sex, so I'm excited. A few books that kind of fit the paranormal-y vibe but aren't like mass market paranormal romances. I really loved last year, I think I read A Discovery of Witches. I feel like I read it last like October-ish. I read it right before Comic-Con, like near Comic-Con. So this is the second book in that series, Shadow of Night. I really love the TV show adaptation of the first book, so I'm excited to watch season 2 whenever that premieres. I kind of put this off because like Discovery of Witches is kind of slow, but I'm kind of in the mood for it again, and yeah, I know this one has a historical time setting, so yeah, don't want to spoil anything, but this is a romance between a witch and a vampire, and it's addicting and super slow at times, but yeah, Discovery Witches, I highly recommend it. I think you should check it out if you are into like that vibe. The next book is a book that I picked up a while ago from an author that I was following on social media. I had really liked her YouTube channel, and this is Grave Things by Lindsay Mead. So this follows Viola, who is an exorcist, and she meets a Scottish man who something happens with demons and souls and possession, and I think she falls in love with the Scottish guy. And I really like the cover. Exorcism, demons, it sounds exciting, and I'm very excited to check it out. And then the last book is a YA paranormal romance, and it's Crave by Tracy Wolff. I know this is set like a boarding school and is a vampire romance that is probably akin to Twilight and those books. I am a huge fan of the Vampire Academy books by Rochelle Mead, and I don't think that this can like come anywhere close to Rochelle Mead's level, but I'm excited to check it out. I bought this kind of like right when it came out, and then there was a lot of like mixed reviews for it, so I put it off. But I think October is a great time for a book like this to kind of get sucked into. I don't have like high expectations for it to be like my new favorite thing, but I'm excited for a fun time. Just like me, like I'm just excited for a fun time. And then the next books are actual paranormal romances. So the first book is the third in the Psy Changeling series by Nalini Singh. This is Caressed by Ice, and I read Slave to Sensation earlier this year and I really loved it. I really love this world. I didn't love the second book. So this world follows like these shifters, so like all different types of shifters, from werewolves and jaguars and bears, all types of shifters, and they live in this world that is ruled by the Psy. And the Psy are basically like emotionless humans who like through evolution decided that like any type of feelings gets in the way of things. But as you read the series, you kind of realize that like the Psy are a corrupt race, and there are definitely emotions breaking through, and there are brainwashing going on and killing and murder, and they're not what they seem to be. So the first two books follow a male shifter and a female Psy, and this is the first, obviously, of the three now that follows a female shifter and a male Psy, so I'm really excited for that different dynamic. I really disliked the second book. Like, there was a lot of consent issues. The like hero really forced himself into the Psy's life, and like was alpha in a way that I didn't enjoy, but also felt very, very similar to the setup of the first book. So I don't think you have to read them in order, but I'm pushing through. So this book follows a female character who was introduced in the second book, so I'm excited for that, but otherwise you can kind of go into these without knowing too much, except like the whole setup of the Psy and the shifters. And then a book that I've kind of had on my to-do list to read for a really long time is A Quick Bite by Lindsay Sands. So Lindsay Sands is kind of one of those writers who writes like funny but bonkers books. So this is the first in her really long series of vampire novels called the Argano series. I believe they're all family members, like related vampires. So this first book follows Lysiana Argano, who is a vampire, and she's squeamish of blood. So she kidnaps a doctor to kind of like, I think, help her get over this, but like she ties him to her bed. And I think just like hijinks ensues. So I'm very excited to read this finally. I've been collecting some of the books from the series, so I'm excited just to get through them and figure out what this whole world is about. And then I need to get on back to Cressley Cole. So this is the next full-length book that I have to read. I've just read Kiss of a Demon King. And then I think that the next book is Untouchable, but I didn't get a physical copy of that one, but I do have Pleasure of a Dark Prince. The kind of numeral like ordering of these are kind of odd, but I do know that this is like I should be reading the book before this Untouchable for Fated Mates, but this is the only one I have a physical copy of, and I don't know who this one follows, but this is a long-running series. There's like shifters, witches, Valkyries, vampires, werewolves, like demons, so there's a lot going on. Definitely start with A Hunger Like No Other, which is the first book. They're all super fun, crazy books, but the audiobooks are also really great as well. Then the next book I don't know much about, and I've never read from this author before, but it's the only kind of, I think I don't have that many witches books, Paranormal Romance is about witches and just witches, but this might be also witches and vampires. I didn't know this. But this is Dead Witch Walking by Kim Harrison. I think the witches in this kill vampires? I don't know. Oh my god, I have no clue what this book's about. But I got this so I went to New York Comic Con in 2019, right? What year is it? 2019. And Avon and HarperCollins were doing like a mystery box of Paranormal Romance, so I bought the Paranormal Romance box, and this was in it. So I'm excited to finally read it, as well as a book that I recently picked up at Dollar General. I know, crazy. But this book was only $3. It was labeled as a thriller, but whatever. And I need to share with you the step back. So this is Sexiest Vampire Alive by Carolyn Sparks. This is a long-running vampire series, but I have not read any of the other ones. But look at the step back. They're in a coffin. And the tagline here says, "He was both a vampire and a playboy. Impossible to resist." I mean, come on. So this follows a world where, like True Blood, the existence of vampires is kind of known, or like this is what happens in this book. A video revealing vampires is about to like get out, and this guy vampire is trying to make it all seem like it was a hoax. And I guess he's falling in love with the first daughter of the president, the like country. Honestly, this sounds absolutely absurd, and I am ready for it. Absolutely ready for it. So those were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 books that I would like to read this month. I have no clue if I'm gonna read them all, but now you know the vibe that I'm feeling for October. So happy reading for me. Please let me know any of your thoughts on any of these books that I talked about. I would love to know what is on your October TBR. And yeah, thanks you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.